From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day, this is Dateline Malacañang. For our top story, reaffirming the national government's efforts to improve infrastructure across the nation, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Thursday led the inauguration of the Sorsogon Sports Arena in the province of Sorsogon. Situated in the heart of Sorsogon City, the opening of the arena highlights another milestone in the province's infrastructure development as it coincides with its founding anniversary this month. It is part of the 7.1-hectare Sorsogon Sports Complex inspired by Rome's famous Colosseum landmark. It has a seating capacity of 15,000 with the potential to accommodate up to 20,000 for a full house sports activities, making it capable for hosting local and international events. The sports arena also has various amenities that include an athletics oval and a 3-story facility capable of housing athletes and spectators. Given the strategic location of Sorsogon, the provincial government aims to turn the complex into a national training camp for all Filipino athletes for national and international sporting events. Let us now listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. during the event.
Maraming salamat sa ating kalihim ng Department of Public Works and Highways, Secretary Manny Bonuan. Magsiupo tayo. Bago ako tumuloy, magbibilad ba talaga kayo sa araw hanggang ano? Ha? Masisira yung mga kutis ninyong napakagandang mga Bicolanang kutis. Magmumukha kayong Ilocano pagkatapos ng araw nito. Ang ating butihing Senate President Jesus Escudero, andito rin po, kasama ko rin po ang Special Assistant to the President for Investment and Economic Affairs, Secretary Dec Go. Kakarating na ni Senator Francis Tolentino at naghabol siya mula sa Maynila. Sorsogon 1st District Representative Maria Bernadette Escudero, Sorsogon 2nd District Representative Manuel Fortes. Andito rin po ang isa siguro ngayon yun lang po makikilala. Ngunit talagang kailangan makilala nyo po dahil itong batang ito ay matagal ko nang kilala at ngayon ay siya ay tumatakbo bilang senador. At masasabi ko naman po sa inyo sa pagkakilala ko sa kanya, ay isa sa pinakamabuting taong ito na nakilala ko at pinakamasipag at nakakaunawa sa mga problema ng kahit na yung pamilya nila may kayamanan, sila ay hindi lumayo sa taong bayan. Sila po ay nakaapak sa lupa, hindi po lumilipad ang mga ulo. Ito po si Congressman Camille Villar na ihahalam po natin sa tulong ninyo bilang senador. Sorsogon Provincial Governor, Governor Bobby Hamor, Sorsogon City Mayor Maria Esther Hamor, lahat po ng ating mga bisita na nandito ngayon, mga minamahal kong kababayan, magandang tanghali po sa inyo lahat. Diyos Marhay, naaga sa Indugabos. Maraming salamat po. Sa napakainit po na pagtanggap at pagsalubong ninyo sa akin dito sa Sorsogon. At ngayon lang po kung nakakita ng ganito, nagsasayaw ng ganito karaming tao. At akala ko yung sumasayaw lamang ang nandito sa baba. bago napon ako, pati yung nakaupo, sabay-sabay gumagalaw yung mga kamay. Kaya magbabago ang ibig sabihin ng tinatawag ng audience participation. Dahil hindi na kayo audience, kasi kasama na kayo sa mga dancer. Maraming salamat po. Kaya tinitiyak ko ulit, sigurado ba kayo na diyan kayo sa araw? Akong nahihirapan sa inyo. Bago ang lahat, nais ko munang batiin ang lahat ng masusuganon sa inyong ika-130 anibersaryo ng pagtatatag ng inyong lalawigan at sa ika-50 Kasanggayahan Festival. Sa araw na ito, muli tayong nagsama-sama upang pasinayan ang Sorsogon Sports Arena na ipinagmamalaki ng buong Bicol Region ngayon. Sa pagtataya, kaya ng arena na ito na may upo ang aabot sa 12,000 katao. Marami rin itong gagamitin bilang national training camp sa mga atletang Pilipino. At sa pagkaunawa ko, yung sinasabing 12,000, doon lang sa taas. Kung isasama mo yun dito sa baba, napakalaki. Kaya totoo nga, hindi tayo magtataka na ito ang pinag-uusapan ng mga Bicolano pagka tinatanong kung ano yung bagong mga na itatayo ang bagong pangyayari dito sa inyong region. Ito ay isang mahalagang hakbang upang maitaguyod natin ang ating mga kababayan na may angking galing sa larangan ng palakasan. Sa tulong nito, mabibigyan sila ng pagkakataon upang mahasa pa ang kanilang mga talento. Harinawa ay maidagdag pa natin sila sa hanay ng ating Olympian at atletang Pinoy. Lalayo pa ba tayo? Sa inyong lalawigan, mayroon tayong manlalaro mula sa kaagang si Ginoong Isidro del Prado. Siya ay nagpamalas ng galing sa 400-meter dash noong 1984 Olympics na ginanap sa Los Angeles sa USA. Sa bawat hakbang ng kanyang karera, itinampok niya ang tapang, katatagan at determinasyon. Mga katangiang nagbubuklod at nagtataguyod sa ating bilang nagkakaisang bansa. Tulad din ng mga Olympian natin na lumahok nitong 2024 na Paris Olympics. Hangarin natin sa pamamagitan ng arena na ito, lalo pang dumami ang mga kababayan natin na magbibigay ng dangal sa ating bansa. Bagamat sports arena ang tawag dito, hindi lamang ito para sa mga larangan ng palakasan. Maaari din itong gamitin para sa pagpupulong, mga summit, konsyerto, mga patimpala. Kaya hirin natin may kakailang simbolo ng progreso ang Sorsogon Sports Arena. Sumasailalim ito sa patuloy na pagsisikap, pagtsatsaga at pag-unlad ng mga Sorsoganon at mga Bicolano. Sa pagkakatanda ko pa, noong ginawa pa lamang ang arena halos 2 taon na nakalipas, si dating Governor at ngayong Senate President si Chis Escudero ang nagpasyal sa akin sa probinsya ninyo. At ngayon, sa pamumuno ni Governor Hamor, masaya akong makita na pinagpapatuloy ninyo na siguradong matatapos ito. Tunay ngang isang halimbawa ito na kung tayo ay nagkakaisa para sa kapakanan ng taong bayan, aasenso hindi lamang ang isang lalawigan, kundi ang buong bansa. Kanina po ay nasaksihan ko sa aking pag-ikot kung paano tayong pinagbubuklod ng ating mga hangarin para sa bayan natin. Isang patunay dito ang Sorsogon National Government Center, isang one-stop shop government center na maglalapit at magpapabilis ng serbisyo sa taong bayan. Ito ay sumusuporta sa layunin ng ating administrasyon na mapadali ang serbisyo publiko at mapadami pa ang namumuhunan sa bansa. Isa pang halimbawa ng pagkakaisa ng layunin ng lokal at nasyonal ay ang pamahalaan ay ang Sampaloc Tenement. Ito ay magsisilbing kanlungan ng ating mga benepisyaryo mula sa Barangay Sampaloc na naaayon naman sa ating hangarin na mabigyan ng maayos at ligtas na pabahay ang ating mga kababayan. Nag-uumapa ang aking kasiyahan dahil sa tuwing bumibisita ako sa iba't ibang lalawigan, nakikita ko ang pagtatapos ng mga proyekto at pagsisimula ng mga programang aagapay sa ating sambayanan tungo sa tagumpay. Ngunit, parati ko nang sinasabi na marami pa tayong gagawin. Mula pa sa simula, pagkakaisa, ang hangad ko para sa isang mas mabisa at epektibong pamamahala. Kailangan nating magtulungan upang mas marami pang mga bata ang mabakunahan. Higit pang mabubuti ang seguridad ng kapayapaan at mapapababa ang kahirapan sa sorsogon. Ang ating pagbuklod-buklod ang magbibigay din sa atin ng daan upang matapos ang ibang proyekto sa inyong lugar, katulad ng Sorsogon Provincial Sanitarium Facilities at yung pagpapaganda ng kalsada na papunta sa Bacon Airport. Maaring may pagkakaiba tayo sa paniniwala at sa opinyon, ngunit alam ko na tayo ay pinagbubuklod ng iisang hangarin na may angat ang antas ng pamumuhay ng bawat isang Pilipino. Kaya naman, umaasa ako sa suporta ng mga Pilipino, sa tulong ninyo. Alam kong makakamit natin ang mga hangarin natin para sa ikauunlad ng bansa. Muli, pinabati ko po kayo sa isang maligayang pagdiriwang ng Kasanggayahang Festival. Mabuhay ang Sorsogon, mabuhay ang Bicol Region, mabuhay ang bagong Pilipinas. Maraming salamat po at magandang tanghali po sa inyo lahat.
And you just heard Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Wednesday approved the Department of Health or DOH's flagship program to rebuild a resilient and responsive healthcare system during the National Economic and Development Authority or NEDA board meeting at the Malacañang Palace. Dubbed the Philippines Health System Resilience Project Phase 1, the program seeks to enhance health emergency prevention, preparedness, and response in vulnerable areas in the country. Health Secretary Teodoro Herbosa presented the project. According to the President, who serves as chair of the NEDA board, the 27.921 billion peso project serves as an application of lessons learned during the pandemic. The program is also geared toward building an enabling environment, project management, monitoring and evaluation, and contingency emergency response component or CERC. Likewise, it will prioritize areas in the country with poor access to healthcare. The Health Department has already identified 17 provinces for its pilot run.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Wednesday also approved the Mindanao Transport Connectivity Improvement Project or MTCIP during the National Economic and Development Authority or NEDA board meeting at the Malacañang Palace. In its 21st meeting convened by the President, the NEDA board gave its nod to the MTCIP of the Department of Public Works and Highways or DPWH. According to a news release by the Presidential Communications Office or PCO, the chief executive said he wants to proceed with the project as this is one of the main road programs in Mindanao. DPWH Secretary Manuel Bonoan said the MTCIP will support the department's goal to enhance the transport network in Mindanao, benefiting the agricultural sector of the country. Bonoan added that the MTCIP is part of the Master Plan for High Standard Highway Network Development Project, which identifies major projects that would be developed from North Luzon, Central Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. The MTCIP is a comprehensive initiative to enhance road infrastructure in the main corridor, a vital national highway network linking the cities of Cagayan de Oro, Davao, and General Santos. it is expected to generate a wide array of socio-economic benefits for the communities along the main corridor and beyond. The MTCIP aims to improve access to markets, increase trade opportunities, and enhance connectivity for residents and businesses, which will give a big boost to the overall economic growth and development of Mindanao. The project is seen to improve the transportation network in Mindanao, facilitate the transport of agricultural goods from isolated areas, preserve the long-term value of road assets, and minimize the expenses associated with routine and periodic road maintenance. It will also interconnect northern Mindanao, Davao, and Soxargen regions. The project, which will be funded by the World Bank, has at least 5 components before its completion in 2030. The DPWH said it would continue the Rural Roads program beyond 2030, noting these projects have been economically viable with internal economic benefit.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Wednesday expressed appreciation to the Israeli government for its swift assistance to Filipinos amid the escalating tension in the Middle East. This, as the president shared on his official Facebook page a picture of him having a phone call with Israeli President Isaac Herzog. It was not fully disclosed what President Marcos and President Herzog had discussed during the phone call. The chief executive nevertheless said Israel remains one of the Philippines' trusted bilateral partners in the Middle East region, citing the two nations' historic friendship that predates the establishment of the Israeli state. President Marcos Jr. hoped that peace would finally prevail in the conflict-affected areas in the Middle East. The president earlier urged Filipinos in Israel and Lebanon to avail of the Philippine government's repatriation program while flights are still available. President Marcos said the Department of Foreign Affairs, or DFA, will expedite the repatriation efforts, while the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration, or OWA, will be chartering the flights to bring home the distressed overseas Filipino workers, or OFWs. At least 162 distressed OFWs from Israel are expected to return home this October.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s initiative in addressing climate change and disaster risk reduction has garnered praises from the United Nations and delegates of the Asia-Pacific Ministerial Conference Disaster Risk Reduction, or APM-CDRR. In a press briefing at Malacañang, Department of Environment and Natural Resources, or DENR Secretary Maria Antonia Yulo Loizaga said that after the keynote speech of the president, she was personally approached by several delegates to relay how impressed they were with the president's awareness with disaster risk reduction. The secretary said there are over 5,000 delegates who attended the conference. According to Secretary Yulo Loizaga, it is important that delegates from various countries in the Asia-Pacific attended the conference, as this will help the Philippines learn more about fighting the threats and effects of climate crisis in the country. President Marcos earlier said the Philippines will serve as a bridge between the Pacific Island and the rest of Asia.
I have to say that the president's keynote was very well received by the United Nations and by many of the delegates na talagang they came up and they said that they were so impressed by the president's grasp dito po sa disaster risk reduction and climate change mitigation and adaptation. I'm looking at the science and technology component to see how, in fact, we can learn from what other countries are doing. There are a number of developed countries, of course, offering their technologies and their knowledge. But again, I'm biased towards learning from the Pacific Islanders. They have a way and a culture that has actually led them to survive all this time. So the theme that I post in my messages, again, you have a region that has faced so many perils, but you have a region that also has a lot of promise. So it's really a triumph of the promise over the perils that we face. And these islands, the Pacific Islands, have really shown the way in terms of that particular triumph. So marami pa tayong matutunan in this regard. The special representative of the UN Secretary General really has made this a point. I don't know if you saw it was highlighted in his statement that he's calling the Philippines a lighthouse.
Yes, yes.
And one of the areas as well, apart from the community basis, was the way the different departments are working together. So it's not lost on them, no, na in terms of the preparation for this, lahat po talagang tumulong. Everybody, including of course PCO for the media and communications, but DSWD, DOTR, DOST, DILG, lahat po tumulong talaga to make this a successful conference. But in reality, in terms of operation, at the OCD and at the NDRMC, there's some real substantive collaboration going on, no, in improving systems and addressing disaster risk locally.
And you just heard Department of Environment and Natural Resources Secretary Maria Antonia Yulo Loizaga.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang on Wednesday expressed support for the Philippine National Police or PNP's plan to reinvestigate high-profile killings associated with the drug war launched by former President Rodrigo Duterte. In a statement, Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin said the reopening of the investigations of the high killings related to the war on drugs should indicate that the administration of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. places the highest importance on the fair dispensation of justice and on the universal observance of the rule of law in the country. The PNP Criminal Investigation and Detection Group or CIDG is reviewing the cases of Tanawan City, Batangas Mayor Antonio Halili following the revelation of retired police colonel Royina Garma that police officers were involved in the killing of the local official in 2018. Halili, who was known for his shame campaign against criminals and drug suspects in his city, was gunned down by a still unidentified assailant during flag raising rites at the Tanawan City Hall on July 2, 2018. In a press briefing on Tuesday, PNP spokesperson Brigadier General Jean Fajardo said the CIDG would also look into the cases of other key personalities killed at the height of Duterte's drug war. The Department of Justice or DOJ on October 13th announced that it would also conduct a preliminary investigation of the cases of high-profile killings during drug operations carried out under Duterte's watch. These include the killings of Halili, Philippine Charity Sweepstakes Office or PCSO Board Secretary and retired Police General Wesley Barayuga in 2020, Albuera Leyte Mayor Rolando Espinosa in 2016, and convicted drug lords Chu Kintung, Li Lanyan, and Wong Meng Pin inside the Davao Prison and Penal Farm in 2016. Garma earlier revealed during a House Quad Committee hearing that Duterte ordered a nationwide operation that is similar to the so-called Davao City model, a system rewarding cops for every drug suspect killed. The cash reward ranged from 20,000 pesos to 1 million pesos based on Garma's testimony. Garma said a task force under the leadership of retired Colonel Edilberto Leonardo at the CIDG in Region 11 played a pivotal role in the reward-based drug war of the Duterte administration.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, House of Representatives Speaker Martin Romualdez on Wednesday commended President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. for strengthening diplomatic ties between the Philippines and the United Arab Emirates or UAE, which led to the pardon of 143 Filipinos. In a statement, Romualdez said Congress supports the foreign policy thrust of the President in fostering friendly interaction and cooperation with other countries and in making the Philippines a friend to all, an enemy to none. Romualdez added that he looks forward to further enhancing cooperation between the Philippines and the UAE. President Marcos confirmed that he had spoken with the UAE leader by phone to express his gratitude for the pardons as well as the Arab nation's humanitarian assistance following recent typhoons that hit the Philippines. Romualdez also thanked the UAE president for his kind gesture in pardoning our compatriots and in giving them a second chance at rehabilitating and improving themselves. The presidential pardon, he said, brought immense relief to those who were released and their families, further cementing the bond of friendship between the two countries. The House Speaker emphasized the Philippines' willingness to provide future labor and ensure Filipino workers deliver efficient and excellent service.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, the Department of Migrant Workers or DMW on Wednesday reported that the Philippines has repatriated 488 overseas Filipino workers or OFWs and their dependents from Lebanon amid heightened tensions between Israel and Hezbollah. In a television interview, DMW Secretary Hans Leo Kakdak said the government is responding to President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s directive to secure the safety and welfare of Filipinos affected by the conflict in Lebanon. Kakdak said since day one, when the conflict between the Israel Defense Forces and Hezbollah began in October 2023, roughly 460 OFWs from Lebanon have returned, along with 28 dependents, bringing the total of 488. The DMW Secretary also reported that an additional 514 OFWs are expected to be repatriated soon. Of these, 264 have booked commercial flights while 250 are awaiting exit clearances from Lebanese immigration authorities. Kakdak meanwhile confirmed that 192 Filipinos are currently staying in 4 government-provided shelters across Beirut, with social workers and medical workers providing assistance. Secretary Kakdak acknowledged that while some employers are reluctant to release workers, the labor attachés, along with the welfare officers of the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration or OWA, have successfully negotiated for their release in many cases. Kakdak said the government is prepared to escalate efforts if the conflict worsens and Alert Level 4 or mandatory repatriation is raised. Each repatriated OFW will get 150,000 pesos in financial assistance from the DMW and OWA, as well as psychosocial services.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, Radyo Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service is heard over the following shortwave frequencies: 15.640 MHz, 17.820 MHz, and 12.010 MHz. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel at Radyo Pilipinas World Service. You will be able to hear and view our Filipino and English programs, including news updates here in the Philippines. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our posts as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang for Radyo Pilipinas World Service. This has been Steph Vicente. Good day and stay safe, everyone.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.